Hello! I already finished painting this book back in April, I think, at the beginning of April. And it's June now. This took a really long time to edit, like I didn't have any time to work on it, basically. I've tried to make this video as short as I can. It's gonna be a bit longer than the other ones. And basically it's just the process of me painting and finalizing this book. So let's get into it. The first day that I started painting, I decided to go outside and paint. It was really nice weather. This was the very first page that I worked on, and it's also the first page of the book, and I just wanted to experiment with some mediums, and I had no idea of how I wanted to go about it, but I thought it'd be nice to try pencils and markers, some acrylic markers, and it's mostly watercolors though. My idea with the sun was that the sun would be kind of spilling into the room, like the sun rays, the sunshine would be spilling into the room. That's why these triangular shapes are like the sun rays, and they're kind of inside of the room, as if the sun is like almost inside the room, but then there's still the window on top. I'm really obsessed with how this came out. Like, this is one of the cutest things I've ever painted. I've painted a lot of suns and moons in my illustration practice. For some reason I really love painting them, but this is probably one of the best ones I've ever made. It's just so adorable, and it's so me. Then here you can see me in Procreate. I'm just filling in and drawing in the things that I didn't do with paint. Then I started removing the background. So all of this white had to be manually removed because the lasso selection tool doesn't work very well. It just leaves off a lot of bits of white background. So I have to manually trace every single object with the eraser, and then erase the rest with the lasso tool. And it's very time consuming. And it was kind of fun at first, but then later on it became very annoying that I had to do this for every single page. But the reason is that now I can put my own background, and I can experiment with different textures, different colors for the background. I can also collage some textures in that kind of decided later on to put this weird kind of texture on the floor, like a laminated floor kind of, and it's basically just a brush that Procreate has with that texture. So here I'm just like getting the satisfaction of the first page done, basically. It looks so pretty. I'm so proud of this page. I kind of was thinking in my mind I want the lab to be really kooky and weird. I was thinking of like Dexter's Laboratory when I was growing up. There was, you know, his setup was very scientific, but it was also like kooky. Like there was just a lot of machinery that, you know, definitely doesn't exist in real life. So I had fun, like for example, all these vials of stuff almost looked like potions, and I chose this really neon like green all throughout. And it almost suggests to me that he's almost like dealing with poison, or he's like an alchemist or something, the scientist. I just wanted to be kooky, totally made up lab equipment. I guess the microscope is pretty realistic, but everything else was just a mise-en-scène of really random objects that looked vaguely scientific. I wanted it to kind of look like a mad scientist vibe, you know? I mean, he does have a sample in the lab. That's in the story that Kenzo wrote, the kid who wrote the book. He wrote that, you know, the main character Michael picks up a dish labeled unknown species. So his dad is clearly up to some shady stuff. And I wanted to kind of represent that in the illustration. Honestly, this was the second page and I was already just feeling so good about painting. I was like, this is so much fun, like, to get back into painting. This was our dinner walk. I made burritos and we took them out. Oh my god, this dog. So one of my neighbors got a puppy and I didn't know, so we were just walking by and all of a sudden I see this puppy and I'm like, who is this? He's so adorable, he's so freaking cute.
Тия малки зъби. Тия малки зъби. Ай, виж.
То сега ще се научи.
О, май гад, he's so cute.
Не знам, сигурно вече е селско тук някъде. Количета са, количе...
Ма пак ще се приюти, бе.
Нека, ако не.
Ма той дойде двата, тя на къде ще се къде.
Probably have some food on our fingers as well.
Ако дойде.
Ама стига си хапал.
Деш, бе.
Хапа много. Като кърфици.
Не, че хапи.
Да, играе си, да.
Не,
То бебе.
зъбите го.
Иска да ги чеша.
Разкъса един кашон, дет го докараха. Скъса на костите кашона и аз го сложих на костите. И ходи там. Колипка ми взеха 100 лева. Интересно, дели кръчета, черна опашка, бяло на опашката, моторапка бяло. Тега. Където и да подирани, обаче спокойно цял ден лежи пред верандата, пред антрето. Има там кечета. Не, не. Каква е тето? Много интересно. Радо! Съвсем даже. Учуй там отивай. Там, айде там.
Later on that evening, we were just chilling and watching TV shows, and this is Murmur having an amazing time cuddling me. Look at this baby. Look at that face. That face. Oh my gosh. Those cheeks. Those beans. Those toe beans. Look at them. They're so pink. They're like a little pink candy.
I think it's also your...
I'm tickling her.
So cute. Strawberries. Then it was Easter weekend and we went to this other village house where my partner's family lives, and we dyed Easter eggs, which I haven't done since I was like a kid probably. And then you have this little competition where you each crack each other's eggs, like everyone tries to crack the other person's egg basically, and then if your egg gets cracked, you're the loser. We painted these with wax first and then we dyed them, so that's why you get these patterns. Look at this majestic Studio Ghibli magical animal. Then we went home and my friend helped us plant seeds in the garden.
Show me how you roll in the dirt.
Next.
Yep. Getting dirty. Okay, yeah, nice.
And just as this new monstera leaf was ready to be born, I was also ready to start painting again after a few days break. Yeah, I've been enjoying like painting furniture for this book. It's so satisfying just to like fill up a rectangle with color. I don't know. This is just the joy of painting. Sometimes is how mundane it is and how kind of boring and ultimately utterly satisfying. And by the way, these watercolors I've had since I was a teenager. Like I've had these since high school because I was painting a lot in high school and then I just really stopped for a very long time. And yeah, it's kind of wild just opening up this watercolor set and just remembering when I was a teenager in high school painting with these. They've been with me for so long now. But I'm so glad to finally be using them up again, and to get back into painting was really amazing for this project. And it's cool because now I feel like I want to keep doing it more, and for my next project, which I'll talk about in another video, I'm going to be doing some painting and some collage and just kind of getting back to traditional mediums, and I guess kind of getting back to my roots, I guess. I really enjoyed painting this cat. The story mentions absolutely nothing about the family having a pet cat, but if I have the chance to introduce a cat into a scene, I will do it. This was one of my favorite little scenes that I painted. It's a window scene again, and I think it's just so good. I mean, I love the idea of like a window inside of a composition because it gives you the opportunity to create a little world inside of the world of the illustration. Or at least that's how I approach it anyway, and it's almost like a painting or a cutout. Like a little vignette of this night scene with a moon and trees and the rooftops of houses. And then there's this little fox peeking out through the window. And it's mirroring the first bedroom scene that we saw where the sun is also like this present character in the window. But the sun is spilling in through. So there's a connection to the inside of the room. It's not just like a painting on a wall almost, that window. The two worlds are like connected. In the first one there's also like a bird, right, singing on the windowsill, and so the idea of the fox came in the same way. Like I needed an element to connect the outside with the inside world, and so you have this fox hanging on the windowsill. And unfortunately I didn't realize that I was painting the fox off camera, like to the side, so I didn't really capture any of the process of painting the fox, but you'll see it a bit later on when I'm done with these trees and the night sky. I love painting suns and moons, and I think when I pick up an old like a vintage, kids book, they always have these like suns and moons that have a lot of character and personality, and they're always part of the story, like as a character. And I've always been fascinated with that, and even from I guess the medieval times and even before that, people were always personifying the sun and moon, and they were always giving them faces and expressions and humanizing them, and I've always been fascinated with that, and I just love the way they look, these two shapes that represent the sun and the moon, and then with like a face inside of them, and then they're always kind of in the sky watching over us. I love that for children's books. I love giving kids the notion that there's this benevolent kind of figure watching over them. I mean, it doesn't have to be religious, it's just like it gives a sense of awe, I think, and of wonder, which I really love. And now we can see the little fox. When I decided to move the camera, you can see it. It's adorable, that fox. I'm not super good at painting animals, and I'm not super confident, so I'm trying to kind of incorporate them more, even if they're just little characters in the background. Painting. So today is the 30th of April, which is the last day of this month, and that means that I have like 14 days, although I guess less because of the weekends, to work on this book, and then I'm going to Greece on a trip for a few days, and then when I come back I have the rest of May to finish this book. I have to do 1 page per day, but then I still have the cover to do, and I have to digitally clean up every single one of them, so it's very tight. I kind of have to pick up the pace, but I'm finding myself to be very slow, and I'm able to paint 1 double page spread per day, but actually I need to be going a little bit faster than that. That's what I'm working on today. It's the antagonist of the story. It's the space worm monster. I quite like the color palette I chose for him. I wasn't sure about like the reds, but I think it works out. He's kind of fleshy and creepy, and he has a funny little face, and he's kind of a bully. But yeah, while I'm painting, I thought I would talk about a really cool opportunity that came my way. A couple of months ago, I think I applied for a mentorship scheme by the AOI. The AOI is the Association of Illustrators. I think that's what it stands for. It's like a non-profit organization that you can become a member of. I'm not actually a member, because it's like a paid thing and I can't afford it, but I do follow them on Instagram because they have just like interesting stuff they post about the illustration industry. And yeah, they have this like open call for mentorship for illustrators who are underrepresented. So like if you're from a minority, or like if you're from a country where there's just not that many opportunities to meet industry people, I guess, which I'm part of both of those cases. So yeah, I wrote an application, and I guess they liked it because I was one of the illustrators who got accepted, and they paired me up with a mentor, and her name is Linda Murray, and she's a senior designer at Hachette Learning. So that's really cool. Like, she works for a really major publishing house, and she is a senior designer at Hachette Learning, which Hachette Learning is like a subdivision, I guess, and they make like educational resources for students, both like in print and digital. But yeah, she's basically like a children's book illustrator as well, and she teaches, she's a professor, and she teaches narrative illustration and like picture book design. She's a graphic designer as well, and she's been working in the industry for like many years. So yeah, she's basically my mentor now, which is really exciting. Like, we had one meeting already, and we decided that for the next 6 months, because that's how long the mentorship program is. I'm just realizing that I can't speak and also paint at the same time. I guess I'm not very good at multitasking. I'm gonna try though. But yeah, we decided together that we would do like a mock-up for a picture book. So it will be 1 character design and 1 book cover design and 2 finished double spreads. And then we also agreed that I might try to animate the character design, in the sense of like just making the character move, because I'm quite rusty with my animation skills. I haven't done animation since uni, and I was really bad in uni as well. That's why I didn't end up doing animation, even though I studied it for 3 years. Like, while I was doing my course, I quickly realized that I love the drawing aspect of animation. And I liked doing the concept art and the storyboarding. But then when it came to actual animation, I just really didn't have the patience for it. But it is a super useful skill to know, and I guess a lot of illustrators these days, you've probably seen online, like they'll have an illustration and they'll just make it move, like come alive with some movement. And that's something that I definitely wanted to try and get back into. I like the idea of making an illustration and just having like maybe some background elements move, like if there's like a tree, it could be like blowing in the wind a bit, or like, you know, the character could be doing like just like a little motion. It doesn't have to be like a whole animated cycle. And yeah, with my mentor, with Linda Murray, I'm going to be putting together a book project that we can then send to publishers. So the cool thing is that she will help me actually understand how to contact publishers and how to put my work in front of people, and she has all this, you know, amazing insider knowledge. So like she'll teach me how to like approach people and art directors and senior designers, and how to present my work, I guess, and how to pitch my work to people, which is like all stuff that I really don't know how to do. So like I'm just incredibly excited to be working with her. Like it's such an amazing opportunity. The funny thing is as well that when I applied for this mentorship, I actually didn't send out my children's book work. I sent out my editorial work, which I publish under a different name, like different Instagram account, different website, just because that area of illustration has been the most successful for me, and the children's book stuff is kind of, I've been doing it for far less time, and I feel like it's less developed, and I feel like my style is less developed, and I felt like my portfolio for children's book illustration was not strong enough to send out to publishers yet, or to art directors, or even to agents. But then they matched me up with her, and I saw that she has all this like experience with children's book design and illustration, and she thought that my portfolio for kids book was good. So we kind of switched gears and said, okay, since she has all this experience, then we will focus on my children's book work, which is so amazing for me, because honestly, at the start of this year, I was really not very optimistic about my children's book work. I even had some times where I was like, I think I'm just gonna quit it. Like, I don't know if I'm cut out for it. I don't know. I was having some really negative thoughts, and you know, I was like, I'm not gonna quit it. Obviously, I've put already so much work into it, and it really is a dream of mine. But I thought maybe I just need a break. You know, like I'll keep it on the down low this year, and maybe this year I'll focus on my editorial work instead. But then this opportunity came along, and I thought, like, I feel like this is the universe telling me to not give up. That I'm maybe nearly there. I just lack certain skills, or I don't have this insider industry knowledge, and like this mentorship is exactly that. It's just kind of pairing you with someone who's really knowledgeable, and then you can learn from them and elevate your career to the next step, which is really exciting. Like, I cannot begin to describe how happy I was after I had my first meeting with Linda, and she's a really sweet person, and I think it's gonna be really amazing. I even before this mentorship, I was thinking of because this is like a free opportunity, which is so amazing. Like, but yeah, before this, I was even thinking, if I don't get into this mentorship, I will start saving some money to pay someone to give me some advice. Like there are some art directors I follow online, and I know that there are people who give portfolio reviews as well as like just general career coaching for illustrators. So I was going to prepare to maybe pay for some kind of like coaching or mentoring, because I was feeling extremely lost. Like, it's so intimidating, this process of like looking for clients and getting your work in front of people. At the same time, you don't really know if your work is like good enough to even pursue that. Like, you know, I feel like often artists are just really bad at like gauging how good or professional their art is, and yeah, I had this insecurity about my portfolio as well. I told Linda that I don't think my work is very good, and I guess she kind of disagreed, which is nice. And yeah, she said some nice things about my work, which I really appreciated. So yeah, I feel really confident now, and I'm excited, and because going to be going on for some months, I think our last meeting, we will meet once a month to keep track of my progress, and so our last meeting should be somewhere at the end of October. You know, I just feel like it's given me something to focus on for the year, and it's giving me like a new purpose, I guess, and a new focus and determination. And the really important thing about like if you decided you want to be a picture book illustrator, the important thing is, when you don't have a lot of clients, is to make a lot of personal projects. So you just pick up, you know, a story, either the one you've written yourself or like one that's in the public domain, and you illustrate it, and you pretend as if you have a client that's commissioned you to do that, but you don't actually. It's just you. But this is how you show publishers that you can do this work. And I was really struggling with that. I struggle in general to do personal projects because I feel like I'm not really accountable to anyone but myself, and here's where the ADHD kind of kicks in as well again, because yeah, I just struggle to focus on that and to keep myself accountable because my brain just doesn't accept that this is like a really important thing that I have to do unless someone's asking me to do it. Which in a way, you know, it makes me a good person to work with other people because I do work the best when I do have a client and there is a deadline, and I actually don't struggle with deadlines as much as other people might actually who have ADHD. Deadlines just really help me with time management actually. Like if someone says you can do this task whenever and there's no deadline, I'm just never gonna do it. So it's the same with personal projects. It's like I can try to put a deadline for myself, but I will just ignore that deadline. There's just no accountability. So yeah, to have a person like Linda keeping track of what I'm doing and checking in with me every month, and obviously she's an illustrator and she teaches illustration and has so much experience, and she can teach me about like the business aspects of it, as well as like give me feedback on the actual work and keep track of what I'm doing. And I have to, yeah, it just helps me to know that at the end of every month I have someone to show the work to, and it's just going to be a really exciting experience and really like rewarding experience. And yeah, and this mentorship couldn't have come at a better time for me, basically. Just about when I was feeling like I'm gonna give up entirely in a way. No, I mean, I wasn't gonna give up. I just have these thoughts, you know, maybe many people can relate, where you're just like, I'm gonna give up. What's even the point? And then you know you're not actually gonna give up because you've already like invested so much of yourself, and you know you still want to do this, but yeah, there are just these moments of weakness, I guess, where I just feel like I'm not up to it. I feel good now though. I feel excited. Back to painting now, I guess. So on this particular page, I had done the sketch in Procreate as opposed to directly on paper, and so I had to print it out, then use some tracing paper to trace my sketch onto the actual paper that I was going to paint. This is a really satisfying thing to do as well, tracing, and I love the way the tracing paper looks in the sunlight after you've completed your tracing, because it looks like an X-ray almost. So the design of the dragon consisted of many scales. I wanted him to look like a snake, I guess, and the way I did it was to trace the line of every scale, and then at the base of each scale add a little bit of shading to give it more dimension. Hi. So I just finished my dragon spread. It took a really long time to make because these scales took a really long time to paint. Now this was also one of the best pages and quite possibly one of the best illustrations I've ever made, especially for my children's book portfolio. I had so much fun making this. I've always loved double-deckers when I was a kid, and to me, when I was a child, and I was thinking of like, moving to London when I was gonna grow up, and I was fantasizing about the city, and yeah, the image of the double-deckers was always like so whimsical to me. Now I'm kind of over it, you know. I lived in London for 3 years. I've seen a lot of nasty things happening on the bus. They're definitely not like magical in that realm, but in the realm of imagination and possibility. Buses are just double-deckers are just cute little red buses that are totally harmless. And yeah, I enjoyed the drawings kind of advertisement on it, and again I pulled so much inspiration from like 50s and 60s, and I really think I pulled it off with this particular page. And then I really enjoyed making the ads, this kind of advertisement for like makeup, and then you have the opportunity to create these eyes that are also looking down at the main character, being like, whoa. So I thought that was very clever of me. I was very proud of that. this is the pub scene, the much anticipated pub scene that had many characters. And it was like this whole scene of people in a pub kind of freaking out about the news on the television set, and they're freaking out because they think the world is ending, and the only text on that page says the world was in panic. So I wanted to show the world in panic, and I figured that like a public setting like a pub would kind of communicate this idea of like a community of people come together to discuss kind of what's going on in the world right now, and seeing it on the television, and they're all freaking out together, you know. And I thought that would be like a really cool scene, and also it gives me an opportunity to draw and paint many different kinds of people, of different races, different ethnicities, different ages, different just different people, and I really enjoy that. Probably one of the coolest things about illustration is creating scenes like that where you have a variety of people, because I actually think that reflects real life really well. I mean, when you go to a parade or a festival like in this scene, or when you go to the supermarket, you will see a variety of people of all kinds of different shapes and sizes and presentation, and I really enjoy painting that and celebrating that. And I think for a child to see it is really inspiring. I think it makes you as a child maybe feel like you would want this sense of community, this sense of like people being able to gather in one place to either celebrate something or to be scared together. Whatever it is, I really enjoy painting this lady. For me, it's really important to have a lot of fat people in children's books, because there's a huge problem in the children's book publishing industry of excluding fat people from children's books, and a lot of the times when fat people are presented in a children's book or media, they're often the villain, or they're often portrayed in a negative way. And for me, it's not just about portraying them in a positive way, but even just portraying them in a neutral way. They're just normal people like everyone else. I think children really need to accept that and understand that all bodies are different, all people are different, and what they see on the TV, sometimes in movies or whatever, or even in their own books, you know, it's not a reflection of reality, but it's up to us to kind of change that. It can still be whimsical and creative, but it needs to represent in an artistic way how life really is, through the lens of you know, a style or whatever your style is. You can always incorporate that. And I really think that the things that we see as children really shape us. Like, I still remember and think about, you know, cartoons that I've seen as a kid. Books actually less so. I think my parents never really bought me children's picture books. At most I had a couple of encyclopedias, but I actually didn't have any picture books. So that wasn't really an influence on me. So it's quite interesting that I went into this line of work, but I do love picture books now as an adult. I'm so inspired by them. And for me, when I was growing up, it was mostly just cartoons, especially Cartoon Network was really popular when I was growing up in the 90s. And yeah, I mean, I would say that they were pretty diverse. Probably, you know, there's a lot of like 90s outdated kind of like humor that's, we've moved past it now and we would consider it problematic. But for sure there was a lot of diversity. In fact, I think that the quality has decreased on Cartoon Network and like commercial animation for kids. Everything has decreased in quality now. The storytelling, the characters are not as interesting, as compelling. But anyways, that's like a whole topic to get into, I guess. Representation and stuff like that. I guess media analysis of like children's media is something that I'm really into, and like media in general. And the reason I'm into them is because ultimately, yeah, I really believe that the things that we see genuinely have an effect on the way we see the world. Like, it really can have an impact on how we see people from marginalized communities, people that we don't understand or that we don't have personal knowledge of their struggles, it's really important. I just finished the last page of the book. It's where Michael receives praise and everyone's super thankful and grateful that he saved the world from the giant space worm that was attacking Earth. It was really fun to paint. I still have to add a bunch of details digitally, like mostly to do with people's faces, kind of like the eyes, noses, mouths, stuff like that. But it looks pretty good already, and also it's really satisfying to work on the last page. Right now I still have to do the cover. So today is Monday, and my task for today is to illustrate the book cover for this book. I came up with this idea. I just drew it on some really thin paper. It basically shows the main character, Michael, having a fight with the villain of the story, who's the worm. Okay, so it's 6:20 p.m. and I finished the cover. It was actually quite difficult to paint because it's kind of smaller, like the dragon is smaller than I've had to do it on the other pages. So it's difficult to get all the details on, and I feel like I've painted the scales a lot better on the other pages. But it's fine, that means it's done pretty much. I mean, I've scanned all the pages. This is the stack of the pages. This is the whole book. And yeah. I wish it was fully done. Like, I wish I didn't have to now go in and like clean it up digitally, but some spare moments, I guess I will be doing that, and I don't think it will take too long. And now let's have a look at the final result. All the finished pages, the way they look as they were sent for printing. Let's have a look. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was quite long. I don't really expect you to watch every single bit of it. You can skip around, and yeah, I hope you found something interesting in it. I really enjoyed documenting the process. Watching the videos back, I'm just seeing so much and I'm being re-inspired again by the process of painting, and I just get really excited about my next project. And yeah, I'm really glad I started this YouTube thing. It's really fun. I actually feel like it holds me accountable to the things that I'm doing, just by the process of documenting it. And I have a lot of other videos coming up about stuff that's not to do with work, but just like hobbies of mine, I guess. And the YouTube thing actually has helped me with my hobbies, because I feel like I really want to upload YouTube videos, and somehow that motivates me to make videos, and then that motivates me to pursue my hobbies that I normally would neglect and not do them. And it's this idea of like, I'm gonna make a video about it is a really big motivation. And yeah, that's great. That's working out pretty well so far. But if you liked it, please subscribe and follow me and leave a comment, and stay tuned for my next videos. And if you have a YouTube channel that you're uploading stuff to and you would want more people to see it, let me know, because I would love to follow other creators. And that's it. Have a nice rest of the day. Bye!